Maybe you're just at the beginning of your writing journey. Maybe you published a book 10 years ago and you haven't written anything since. Maybe you're just stuck in idea mode. Maybe you wrote a scene yesterday and you weren't that happy with it. Or maybe you froze up and you couldn't get a single line down on the page. Here's what I want you to do. Call yourself a writer now. Not someone who is trying to be a writer, not someone who used to be a writer, not someone who wants to be a writer someday. Call yourself a writer now. You know what? I did this to myself for years. Even with a master's degree in English and having successfully published some shorter pieces in some literary journals, I didn't feel like I could call myself a writer just because I hadn't published a full-length book yet. And let me tell you, I know firsthand, this is wasted time. Call yourself a writer now. You should never wait for the rest of the world to define you. You define you. You know what? While we're at it, let's bust another writing myth. You know what talent is? Talent is BS. It is a lie that keeps people from even trying. Look, there is no such thing as natural talent. What we refer to as talent is really just interest and the willingness to work hard. That's it. Everything in life has to be learned. Tying your shoes, speaking, and definitely writing a book. Every author has a number. It's the number of rejections they received before finally getting that first yes for their first book. Mine is 1,000. Now, admittedly, this is an estimate, but I do know my first book, A Blue So Dark, was rejected 86 times by agents and editors before it finally found its home. And, I wrote for 7.5 years before I got that first yes, and I wrote multiple manuscripts and sent them out. And 86 is a pretty average number for the number of rejections each book received. And I know I did write more than 10 manuscripts. So 1,000 is, in fact, a pretty fair guess. Every published author has a similar story. But if natural talent was real, if it really did exist, no successful author would have this story. They would all, best-selling authors would say, I woke up one day with an idea and I sat down and typed it and voila, I had a bestseller. That does not happen. And it does not happen because natural talent does not exist. All right then, so what separates you from your own favorite author? Time and effort. That's it. Engage with writing every day. I used to give the advice you need to actually write every day, that you need to put fresh words on the page every single day. I don't anymore. I think every author has to find their own rhythm with actually putting fresh words on the page. But I've also come to accept that, writing time is not necessarily just putting words on the page. Writing time includes brainstorming. It includes reading craft books. It includes reading other pieces of fiction within your own genre. It includes seeking feedback and thinking about it critically. Think time is writing time. Neuroplasticity is our friend here, trust me. The cool thing is that every single time you practice something, your brain actually rewires itself. So for us, what that means is every time we interact with language, we're building stronger neural pathways for storytelling. My best piece of advice is don't expect giant leaps. That's not how growth happens. And also, always be working just beyond your comfort zone. This is where growth always happens, is if you push yourself just slightly beyond what's comfortable for you. Reviews, rejections, sales numbers, critiques, what somebody else thinks, none of that should determine if you're a writer. Don't let anybody else define you or tell you what your work is worth. You are the only one who should be determining that. I absolutely believe every writer gets where they want to be eventually. The only ones that don't are the ones that give up. You're a writer. Now go write something.